And welcome back, Bobcat Nation. SKS here with another episode, and one of the saddest episodes of the Bobcat Dynasty. We're looking at the top 25 here. It's something we don't normally check, for the fact that it is the end of the season. We're going to do the off season and the preseason to get ready for the next season. Redundancy much? Yes. Ohio State was your national champions. They defeated Alabama, claimed the title. Seems familiar, doesn't it? But I wanted to go through the top 10. Well, we'll go through the whole top 25 and look at how crazy this game has developed over 2 seasons. And then we'll talk about a few things, and then we'll go on with the off season and see what we need to. Your top 5: Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Alabama, and then Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech on NCAA games always shoots to the top because they run that triple option, and for some reason the game loves a triple option when it simulates. Other than that, Texas A&M may be a surprise, but they have Texas to recruit from, so not really that big of shock. Oklahoma, South Carolina, Texas, Wisconsin, and Florida. Some normal teams you see. University of Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns, finish 11th to end out the year. They finished first in our conference. We finished second, so no shame there. Washington, Arkansas, UCF, and West Virginia make up the top 15. We'll go to the next 5. Arizona, Connecticut. I watched a 5 overtime game with Connecticut and Cincinnati once at Cincinnati, so maybe they're trying to reclaim some fame. I think that was way before this season, though. We got Clemson, UCLA, Colorado State. Colorado State had that awesome running back, and they finished in the top 25, so that's probably a contract extension for their coach. Good for him. Colorado, so both Colorado schools representing, 7-6 and getting ranked. Interesting. Houston, Nebraska, Miami, and Arizona State round out your top 25. Others receiving votes: Utah, Western Kentucky, North Carolina, Navy, Army. So Kentucky dropped out because of their loss in the bowl game. You can see some other teams. Well, screen always makes me sad because I know what comes next. This was a very up and down year. To talk about a few things, I'll even set the control down so we can have a heart-to-heart. We have the 13th best class coming in this season. We have no 5-star athletes. We have 3 4-stars that top our class, our incoming class. And as we saw this year, some of our numbers went down because we had younger men in. The biggest number that I noticed when I was crunching statistics was our sacks. Year 1, we had 66 sacks. It was the year of the Mangum and all them. This last year, we only had 33. That is a 50% drop in sacks. Our turnover difference, also went up, unfortunately. We went from having a negative 12 to negative 20. And I think the only reason we won as much as we did is we played some really bad teams. Crunching some numbers, year 1, the teams finished the year 68-70. So almost 500. This year, they finished 68-94. So we played some teams that lost a lot and just a couple that had big wins. My thoughts going into this next season is I want to try to schedule some tougher opponents. Our conference is so weak, except for Louisiana Lafayette, or the Raging Cajuns, who are actually going to be like super amazing, I guess, from this point on. So we'll have to see who's available to us and what the schedule looks like and weave that in. We are losing a big chunk of our offense with Tom Sutton. He had, see my numbers here, we had 34 rushing touchdowns this season. That's up from 16 in year 1. So, and our passing touchdowns was about the same. We need some secondary with hands who can intercept the ball. So we're kind of a hot mess right now. We won. We got a bowl win. But the stars really aligned this last season for Texas State. And I hate to say that, but Coach Conquest I don't know. Now, I am going to tinker with some of the sliders. We held the opposing team to like 100 yards a game rushing. I think I'm going to buff that up just a little bit because I don't think that's realistic. And penalties. We were the number one team in the game with penalties last year with 13. We only had 13 penalties all season. That's one a game. So I'll see what I can do with that because I know if you go a certain way, it's way too many penalties. But I'll look online, Operation Sports, see what we can find there. But for now, let's go ahead and advance and try not to internally cry. But I brought tissues just in case. Let's end the 2014 Texas State Bobcats Dynasty football season, where we went 9-4 and scored a bowl game win in the GoDaddy.com Bowl against Bowling Green. The best season to this point. You did it, Coach. Everyone here is so impressed with the job you have done that we have decided to offer you an extension. Head coach Brett Conquest, he's got a 16-9 career record, an A- prestige now, and they want to do a 6-year extension? Wow, that's actually pretty good. We're going to sign this one. Now, something we may have to face in the upcoming years is, do we think about going to a different school? Now, we're definitely going to get all of our players in and see what we can and see what the ceiling is here at Texas State. But until then, yeah, we're going to sign this. So the two big jobs that were open were Tennessee and LSU. We wouldn't have had a chance for either one of those. So it's a good idea when we signed our contract. Advance to players leaving. I'm not ready for this. All right, we're at the new screen, so let's check out the coach changes. See if anything big's happened. All right, so here we are. Let's check out the Sun Belt Conference before we look at any of the bigger schools. Looks like Arkansas State has extended Bryant, which they should. They were ranked a little bit. Georgia State and Idaho both fired their coach. Conquest got an extension. So did our defensive coordinator. Oh, okay. So we kept our defensive coordinator, but the offensive coordinator didn't. I thought that was our OC and he left, but no. The Troy's OC left, so maybe there's a chance that we can get a win over them this year. And it looks like Lafayette. Wow, somebody poached their head coach. I wonder where he went. So we found him. He went from the University of Louisiana Lafayette to Tulsa. Okay, interesting move. I don't know if that's an upward position. It seems kind of lateral to me. I don't know. I can't really see that as being a big move, but okay. This game perplexes me sometimes. And we have one guy trying to transfer. I'm not sure where we're at on the depth chart he was at. This one doesn't make sense to me because he's a freshman getting ready to be a sophomore, and he had two seniors in front of him. So he's probably going to be the starter at left guard this season. So I'll try to talk him into it, but there's not really a high chance of that. But I'll see. All right, we couldn't talk him out of it. He's moving. So we may have a hole in that left guard position here. I thought that our offensive line was getting stronger, but I guess not. All right, top name on the list that we have to talk about. And if you want to see any highlights or anything of Tom Sutton, the All-American, true All-American, go back and watch any video in the last two seasons, and you're going to see him. Tom Sutton is that special player, 83 overall, that played like he was 99 some games. I mean, 5'10", 192, a redshirt senior from Pasadena, Texas. The Walker winner, All-American, and you just look at his numbers. how they jumped up. Yards per rush went up a yard. Yards per game went up 30 actually. 26 touchdowns his senior season. His longest rush was 88 yards. Yards after first hit from 570 to 820. It's 20 rushes of more than 20 yards. 35 broken tackles. I don't know. And that's not even talking about his receiving. He was on that side of the ball too. Tom Sutton's just one of those players that you build your team around, and we did. And sadly, we have to move on from him. And it really hurts my feelings that we have to do this. But at some point, you do have to move on. 84 injury. The dude played through so many injuries, get knocked out of a game, and somehow be right back out there. I don't know why he was programmed that way. I'm not sure how that happened. And with a 69 trucking, he ran over a lot of people. I'm really sad to see Tom Sutton go, and I think a lot of you will as well. He is definitely up on our Mount Rushmore Bobcat monument as probably the first head that goes on there. Brian Stanley, free safety. Man, oh man. It says coverage, but I gave him so much crap for what he did sometimes. 58 tackles, 5 for a loss. No sacks this year. 2 interceptions this season, though. He went down 1. We didn't have a lot of interceptions. But Stanley, I'm sure that I've cursed his name more than I ever praised it. But it is sad to see him go. And again, we've got some secondary coming in. We'll have to see if they can fill the shoes that Stanley has left for them. Justin O'Connor, amazing punter. He didn't get a lot of work in some of the games this season, but when we did need him, he did plant them. I mean, look at those shifty eyes. That man is always eyeing the corner near the out of bounds line. Courtney Sands, I'm going to miss saying somebody from White Settlement, Texas. It's just that borderline humor that's not allowed in the country today. I think he had a super high 88% this season, 75% last season. He ends his career with an 81% field goal percentage in making, and then he never missed an extra point. His longest field goal was 50. I thought he kicked one longer than that, but maybe not. Kyle Booker, he's a man's man. This dude is going to be super successful. I still wish it showed what they majored in. I'd like to see what he's majoring in. Kyle Booker, he just did a lot of work for us. And you can see his production definitely went up yardage-wise. His yards per reception went down this year, but I think that's because we targeted him a lot more, and so they were ready for him when it happened. But that's okay. His yards per game went up, and his yards after catch. The dude just ran over people, and he got first downs when we needed them. He was our drop-down target. He was the man. Marcus Jensen, another name, left outside linebacker. I'm going to miss seeing him. He made play after play after play. Number 43, I just had the glance, and I knew that it was Jensen on the tackle. 83 tackles this season. He had to be one of the top in the nation. 19 of those for a loss. 3 sacks this year, 4 last year. He did have an interception. I believe the one was in the bowl game. What a time to make that. Forced 2 fumbles, 4 pass deflection. Amazing defensive player. Going to miss him a lot. It's going to take some big shoes to fill him. Russ Parker, undersized, ginger, and again, like Stanley, I cursed his name a lot. It says he's a hard hitter, but he missed and whiffed an awful lot. 44 tackles this season. We didn't move him over to cornerback, I believe. So his stats kind of went down. 2 interceptions this season. I don't remember them, but they had to happen probably early on because we didn't have a lot of interceptions, I don't believe. A lot of them, I know he had Spider-Man hands, and I said that a couple times, but he was more about smacking balls down than catching them. DeAndre Fountain, look at those eyes. I was so mad at this man in the bowl game that I almost ruined his last game as a senior in a Texas State uniform. But we put him back out there, and he was a valuable asset. If he could only have just learned not to cut back across the field on kick returns, I think he would have been a lot better. But some people have tendencies. He's from California. They tend to go left, so he would reverse back to the left side of the field. You see there, he almost had 1,000 total kick return yards. 30.9. He did run back one, and he has the season record for longest return of 101 yards. He's always going to be able to brag about that. That's something awesome. So even though I give him crap, it's tough love crap. Marquez Brown. He didn't get in there a lot, but he did play. One of the things I think from last year to this year when he was in the game is he gave up a lot less sacks. I think last year he gave up 3, this year none. So he did learn. Charles Moore, backup quarterback. Charles was the bigger, heftier guy behind Justin Horn. He did have to come in a couple of times. I don't believe he had a lot of stats. Yeah, 4 completions on 12 attempts, 1 interception, no touchdowns this year. But he was there to help keep the team GPA up, and we thank Charles Moore for that. TJ Newton, another player who didn't get in there a lot. 7 tackles this year, 1 pass deflection. I always felt like he was just, even in his picture, you can see he's kind of undersized, not very tall. So it's hard to have guys out there playing safety when they're short. And I know 5'10" doesn't seem like it's short, but when you got receivers that are 6'4", it kind of is. Joe Smiley, another player who didn't play a lot. Even though these guys are in the 70s, there just wasn't a lot for him to do. Josh Austin. Guy come in and made plays, especially when our wide receiver core got depleted midseason. 9 receptions this season, 157, almost identical stats both years. He had a touchdown each season. 15.9, 13.1. He come in and contributed when we needed him. He was like 5th or 6th down the depth chart of wide receivers, so I could tell you how deep we were. But he's one of those guys that come in and did what he needed to, so I'm going to kind of miss him. I wish we had more time with him to develop him, but sometimes it is what it is. Daniel freaking Ward. My God. This dude, outside linebacker, Angleton, Texas, played balls to the wall. 52 tackles this year. Look at that output from last season to this season when he got put in the spotlight. 8 tackles for a loss. He had a sack, deflection, and forced a fumble. The dude played well this season. Emmanuel Cummings. We didn't call his name a lot. He was a heck, even though it says receiving up there, he was an integral part of blocking for Tom Sutton through the season. I don't know how many times I called Cummings in motion, and he would jut over one way or another and be the lead block for Tom Sutton. And I know we can't give awards out for that, but the dude put his work in. If Tom Sutton goes and plays on Sundays, which I guess he's not because it just says he's graduating, sad times. But I think somebody will pick him up in the camps. Justin Cronin didn't really play any. Seth Foster, that's the guy that's leaving. We don't really care about him. Ulysses Sutton, I loved his name. He just didn't get a lot of chance to play. 3 tackles, all of them for a loss and a sack. So when Sutton did get in there, he made an impact. Forced a fumble as well. Very nice. Andrew Cunningham, Thomas McBride, and Tony Larson, these guys did not play hardly at all. So while they're part of the practice squads, we don't have much to say about them. That's our squad that's leaving. We're losing a lot of 60s and 70s and 4 guys in the 80s. 2 of them were strategy positions with the kicker and the punter, but that big one there at the top, Tom Sutton. I'm going to miss that booger. And it's going to sadden me to hit the button to move on, but hopefully everybody remembers him. Thank you, Mr. Sutton. All right, we're to the off season, so we're going to recruit. I think I had a couple of guys that I'm still targeting as we go look at the recruiting board. Obviously, now I need to find a lineman. So maybe now would be the time to try to strike some of these guys who I'm in the lead for. And figure out which ones we want. This athlete here, I definitely want him. We got 15,000 points Somebody that can play left guard. Is it this Kyle Brown? I really don't know what to do. I'll look and see what we have here, and then I'll update you all when I put the points in. All right, so here's how I've distributed my points. Y'all are going to ridicule me. 4,000 into the halfback that we had a lead on. If Georgia puts a ton of points in it, we're probably screwed. Wyoming could jump us on this tight end. I feel like maybe I should put 100 points on him. We're the only dude on this guy, so I feel like we should get him. So maybe I'll take 1,000 off of him and distribute that to the other tight end and the guard, because we need if there's somebody else battling them. But we'll see. I'm trying to play odds, and I feel like I did that last year, and I didn't. But we got a more solid base this time around to mess with it. Holy crap! 80 overall Sean Burnett, halfback, has committed to our team. We also got a 74 halfback. I don't remember putting points into him. He might have been the athlete. 71 Wade Lane, tight end, and a 66 tight end, Dylan Lee. And we did get the guard, Kyle Brown. He's somebody to put in there. We did lose some players to Georgia, Ball State, Marshall, North Texas, and UCLA. Wow, I did not expect Sean Burnett. This is amazing. I just see like the heavens doors opening up right now, and we're just offense is running through. Holy crap. We signed the top class in our conference. We signed a top 10 class. Signed a 5-star prospect. Who was 5-star? Is that that halfback? Is he the one I give points to? A top 10? I don't know. Oh my Lord. Coach Conquest, what have you done? We picked up a 5-star, a couple of 4-stars, and 3 2-stars. There are 3 Texas teams in the top 10. I cannot wait to fill out my depth chart to see where all these people are from and their stats. I know that sounds super nerdy, but that is freaking amazing. Who's the 5? That Burnett guy. He's the athlete. Oh my God, it's because I didn't fully scout him. All right, we need to go into position changes. For that, I need to reconfigure my depth chart, and we'll see what's going to happen with that. So I will be right back after I finish every bit of this.
A few moments later.
Here we go, everybody. It's the training results. This is what makes or breaks your team. Good training results, and we could have a 10-win season. Bad training results, and we could be back to being 6-6. Oh my God. I'm gonna tear up. I have never seen anybody jump that much. Justin Horn +8. And our backup, Brian Jones, went up +5. There's no way we can sit Horn. His awareness went up +7. That was something that was really lacking. Oh, okay. Let's go position by position here. Horn went up. Oh, we had an amazing quarterbacks camp. I wish his speed would have went up a little. 92 awareness. Throw power went up 2, so 85. His accuracy went up to 89. The boy put in work. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I feel like I can open the playbook now. I mean, looking at it all the way through to our third string guy, Trey George. All right, so let's see. It looks like Darnell Jones does pass Darren Thomas. So he's an 81. So he did put some work in. He's a 92 speed. I wish I had them all on the screen right now so I could see all the stats. John McCoy did well as a sophomore. My God. We are really stacked on the halfback. We're going to have a big decision with Jones and Thomas. Heck, we're going to have a decision with McCoy sitting there as a sophomore and like that. Well, it's good to see that Cortez Brown got in the weight room. Thanks, man. Not bad for our wide receiving core. Stewart and Roberson. Well, this is going to bring up something interesting, too, now. Is Stewart is moved ahead of Burnett, that freshman phenom, which I thought would happen. But now Roberson is 81. But, man, leaving him 95 acceleration, I might still leave him in the slot. It depends on his route running. Did that increase any? 83. Something to think about here. The playbook is definitely going to be interesting this year. Chuck Denman here doing some work moving up to 73. Makes me wonder if we can redshirt that McTaggart, or do I leave him on as a 68 so that we go 6 deep on the wide receiver core? Or no, we'll be 7 deep. And then I can cut those last 2 guys. Johnny Walker moving up to 66. That's pretty good. He'll still be a backup, I believe. Left tackle, Perkins moving up to 82. That is very nice. Helps us on the line tremendously. Corey Horn on left guard. He'll be backing up Joe Jones. So he's only 3 behind him now. So that's a good move there. Good backup. Ali Tally jumping up to 83. That's 2 years in a row. I think he's put in some serious work. I'm super proud of him. And he's 99 overall in awareness. And Bobby Norton down there, he's a freshman and 71. Man. Maybe we are developing our line and I just didn't realize it. Burton up 6 to 83. God, our offensive line is looking so much better. I'm starting to get giddy. Now let's see. The right tackle is our weakest spot. It's going to probably be in the 70s, hopefully. 73. Okay, I can live with that. So our left guard, who's brand new, and this guy, 73, is not bad. And his backup's moved up, so that's good as well. I want to laugh at this guy down here at the bottom, the Chad Broussard. He's pretty bad, but he's got the same last name as one of our coordinators, so I'm just going to... And with a face like that, he has to be one of the coach's sons. That's why he's on the team. So, yeah, we'll go with that. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Paul Franklin, 3 overall more. So that puts him ahead of Frank Rankin, and that kind of restores balance to that left end position. Lawrence Galloway, the freshman out of Georgetown, Kentucky. Go, boy. Putting in some work, too. He might be moving up to a good place on the line. I'm proud of him. Darius Fields, nicely done. Moves up into the 70. And his backup, Hollis, 72. Oh, my gosh. We're getting deep. Jermaine Hughes is a sophomore, is a 79 overall, going up 5. Edwards, right behind him, 76. Oh, my God. Defensive tackles, we are stacked. Sean Young, a sophomore, and a freshman. Nice. 78 overall. John Scales, left outside linebacker. He's a senior. We just moved him over there. So, very nice. Steve freaking Humphrey, man. Senior, 86 overall. I think there is a chance he does get drafted, being 86. I mean, that's way up to... And Horn. Oh, my God, he's like a 90. He may get drafted. So, one of these guys could be the first drafted player from our team. That's something awesome to think about. J.D. Carter putting in some work. That actually makes me feel a lot more comfortable there. Him moving up to 80. So the transfer there looks solid. All right, here's where we see if it pays off. Josh Sanders moves up in the cornerback to acceleration and awareness. 80 overall. Greco goes to 74. So Sanders will be ahead of the freshman. But the freshman will be ahead of Greco. So Greco is going to be a solid backup for that. That's going to look interesting. I don't know how that's going to play out. Free safety, Green moving up to, both of those guys, 76 and 73. So solid on the free safety line. Let's see how our secondary closes out here. Randy Booth, a sophomore, 78. Nice. Acceleration goes up. His awareness is lacking. Our safeties are really bad at awareness. Look at Cameron though, 74. He'll be ready. That's what I was talking about. Moving him over, making him get better, and he can go somewhere else next year. So I think that plan may work out for me. All right, so that's our two biggest guys putting in work. Horn. Questions answered. Questions answered, everybody. We were panicking, but he did set the passing record for the school. So I give him so much shit last year, and here we are. Oh my God, this is amazing. All right, so the only thing I changed in the conference is we offered 2 teams to come into our conference from the independents, and that is Army, who is 3 stars overall, and BYU, who is 3 stars overall. Now, one team is kind of in our area. BYU is kind of in this region. Army, they come from a ways away, but I feel like they're much better. We did boot out Idaho. I know some of you are going to be sad about that, but I just don't think they offered anything to the league. They didn't get any wins outside. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it that Georgia State and South Alabama are on the hot seat. They both had 3 wins last season. I know they're new, but Idaho's not a new team. And in real life, I think Idaho got bumped down to Division II. So I think this is an improvement. I think it's going to help the Sun Belt, and I think it'll help us recruit with our conference being better. All right, we made it to preseason 2015. Everything's brand new. We'll have to see who we need. I have to see if I'm going to redshirt anybody, which I think there's a couple people I will. Set the depth chart and custom schedules. So let me go through here and see what's good in the neighborhood. One of the greatest things to have is when you come into this screen and you have no needs on the offensive side of the ball. On our defensive side, we need outside linebacker, middle linebacker, which I noted earlier. But other than this, we can really scoop for improvement players this season and try to do that. Obviously, we got a couple positions that are some D pluses and stuff, and we need to work on that. So I like this. This is nice. All right, I've added a bunch of players to the board, mostly what we need: middle linebackers, outside linebackers, tight ends, and guards. And then I went to the athletes who are interested in us. And then I just went down the line and picked out some position players that were interested, and then we're going to scout what we can and then go from there. I think we're at the point now where we can start being a little bit more selective about who we want. All right, everything's set up to this point. I don't know how much of that I'll skip, just the time constraints, because we'll go over it when the season starts. Here's the part y'all care about. All right, here is our schedule. We have upped it a little bit this year. I'm a little upset that it's still a C+ strength of schedule. With that said, we don't play the first week of the season. We will then have Penn State, a Big Ten team, come visit us for our first game. We then travel to Lexington, Kentucky. I may know somebody that lives there, to take on at the beginning of the season, the ranked 22nd Wildcats. Now, they have games the first 2 weeks, so that one could change. So we don't shorthand ourselves of a ranked team, I figured I'd give us a bye week, and then we take on the 3rd ranked Notre Dame, who by week 5 should still be ranked. This will be a test, and we have a week open before and after them. We do only get to take on 3 non-conference opponents because our conference grew so big. That's something I'll have to keep in mind for the future. Travel to BYU, travel to Army, home against South Alabama, travel to New Mexico State, Georgia State, Troy, Lafayette, and Monroe, all at home, and then we end the season on the road against Arkansas State. I think it's a good schedule. I'm worried about that game, and I'm semi-worried about that game because you all will never let me live it down if something bad happens. We'll stick with this. And let's hit start season and let it all unfold. The one last thing I'll leave you all with is evidently we did get a new offensive coordinator. It said we didn't, unless I totally missed it. But our new offensive coordinator is now Steven Johnson. So I'll set his points, and we'll go from there. All right, that brings us out here to week 1, 2015. I'm going to leave it here. This video is probably super long. I'll cut out as much as I can. But look over there on the right. The captain, Stewart, has something to prove in 2015. A nod to our receiving core. I've got a lot of thinking to do, and I'll be reading your comments about what type of offense we need to run this season. Awesome quarterback, untested running backs. I don't know. I really don't know right now. Ball's in our court. Wrong sport. But we've got to figure this out. This is going to be an interesting year, and we got some tough games at the start to try to figure it out. So I'll be reading your comments. I hope you enjoyed this off-season episode as we go into year 3 of the Bobcat Dynasty. As always, thanks for watching. God bless. I'll see you all next time. Make good decisions, everybody.